if it's okay with y'all, when I get in spaces with people, I like to try to start with a recognition of that which is greater than us, the greater than us, and a prayer, if you don't mind. I pray to the east and the west, the north and the south, as above is below. I ask Takasha, the Creator, Allah, the most beneficent, most merciful, to plant the sacred seed of the divine feminine in the center of my heart, so a balanced tree of life may grow within me. Deepen my roots into Mother Earth for my stability. Let that remain connected and interconnected, so may communicate with all that is and all that will be. And remember to connect with myself, to give to myself first and last, for I cannot give what I do not have. From those deep, stable roots, make a strong trunk, make a wide, strong trunk. So may I live in ceremony and in reverence at all times. From those deep roots and that strong trunk, let many branches of support grow, so leaves may emerge, blossoms may bloom, and seeds can be nurtured, so we may plant a new forest in this world. Amen. So, first of all, I think if we're up here gathering together, I want to thank you guys for spending some time with me today. The world's get a little older. I got to use my spectacles now, sorry. The vanity keeps them away from me, but I'm here. So, the moment we're in is quite a moment, ain't it? I mean, there's something happening, and it's not actually normal. And I want to kind of, and that could be very intimidating, and it could also be exhilarating. And I'm here to talk to you guys, share a little bit about the power of creativity. And I'm here to be together. So I want to just do a little exercise. We've been like, there's here, here, here. So maybe we'll take it here for a moment. We all have a pulse, right? So you guys want to find it? Just for a sec, find your pulse. We all have one. There it is. Maybe shut your eyes for a moment. And maybe start to tap it out if you can on your knee or on your leg. And you could tap it loud if you want. You could tap it. You could keep tapping. Keep tapping. Maybe open your eyes and look around, tune in a little bit. Look at the person beside you. Maybe those little taps are starting to be together because we are together. That's me at 16, rapping like my life depended on it, because it did. I had found my first love, hip hop, and me and my friends were going to be big rappers in Canada, in Vancouver, long before, which was a ridiculous idea, even to our friends. There was no Drake or any of these things. This was just ridiculous to be a rapper from Canada, laughable by our friends. But we persisted in insisting because we love to create. And so we went about our way, and as life would have it, we managed to get ourselves a record deal. And so we're on our way. The big day arrives. We're 16 and 17 years old. So when we have to bring our mothers with us to our lawyer, who's going to present us with the deal that we're going to sign this record deal. And I was the one member of our crew who had received the record deal, and it looked like a book. And I tried to read it. I know there's some lawyers in this room. This is not disparaging, but the lawyers had given us a contract, and I tried to read it. I couldn't make no sense of the hereto, therefore, where out thou, nothing. Except I knew that we were going to get 75 cents a CD, and I knew that a CD sold for $15 because I worked in a record store. So the time came, we gathered in the lawyer's office. He said, all right, guys, here's the moment. And we were all there. I said, excuse me, I have a question. I said, why are we only going to get 75 cents when a CD sells for $15? He said, well, that's industry standard. And I said, well, what does that mean? He said, well, it's industry standard. It's the way it is. I said, I was still confused. I didn't understand why it was like that. He said, it's the way it is, kid. And I said, but it's not fair. And by this time, my friends are kicking me under the table. He's fed up with me, so I was like, all right, let's go. And so we proceeded to sign the worst record deal in the history of record deals. You know, we learned our lesson. And I was a kid who went, it's not fair. It's not fair. And so I went into the music industry for a long time, and after a while in there and some success and failures, I became really disheartened with this extractive notion of industry. And so I started to wind my way into different disciplines, different ways of creating. I found myself in filmmaking, visual art, photography, installation work, theater. I was looking for something. I was trying to find the space of the healthiest process we could create, rather than this extractive process that I was kind of being forced into. And the only thing that was consistent was there was this intersection between art, meaning, and social justice. I wanted the things we made to be meaningful. So I continued at that for a couple decades, and somehow, like I said, some success, more failure, but I learned a lot. Along the way, as life would have it, I met a value-aligned, kind man with a golden heart named James, who we were very separate, very different men, but we shared the same values. And he is a philanthropist and was thinking about the world and didn't want to invest his money because that was causing more harm. And he was looking at philanthropy and was wondering if that was even more cuckoo. But he was interested in nature and in climate through indigenous rights, in education, in democracy, in land justice, things that I was also interested in. He happened to be interested in the arts and artists and the people who would tell the stories of these things we create. So we came together and we decided to do what was at time a one-year project. And instead of making a big splashy mission statement or making huge claims, we decided to ask a question. And this exploration began with this question that you see there. What is the true value of art and the artist's role in society outside of fame, dollars, and back to the industry standard? So say that again. What is the true value of art and the artist's role in society outside of fame, money, and industry standards? And so that one-year project turned into, a 7-year project. And by the time we had come around to the 7 years, we had learned so much. We'd worked with a couple hundred artists. We'd made all these projects. And this community had emerged, and we'd kept learning and kept trying to understand what was happening. And what did we learn? There's so much, but I want to focus on a couple things with you guys today. We learned that if you support the person, not the project, then purpose persists. We remembered, back to some of the stuff that Cesar was saying, and we've heard a few times today with language, we learned that the truth of the sacred relationship between spirituality and creativity and worship, they're one. And if you put it at the center, there's a ripple effect that can become quite significant. We remembered that creative expression is actually a human right, and perhaps a more than human right, and that we actually heal through creative practice, keeping the creator, as we like to say, at the center of that practice. So let me say that again. Healing through creative practice, keeping the creator at the center of that practice. So we really, we delved into why do we create? What is the purpose? Why are we here? We did so much work. But, the truth of it is when we express ourselves, and we all do it, there's this myth that certain people are creative and certain people aren't. You create your life, you create your world every single day. You were creative enough to get here today and to be here and to be in these sessions and be here together. I read, or maybe I saw it, I'm not sure, in some digital other space that exists now. Brene Brown said that unused creativity is not benign. It's actually malignant. And if it's not expressed, it metastasizes in the body. And I think that in this context, we need look any further to the proof of creativity and the unbelievable sense of collaboration and creation than nature. Nature is by far the greatest artist. We'll be trying to catch up forever. We'll never be here, thank God. So I want to share a little bit about a couple of the people and projects along the way that really helped me understand healing through creative practice. So in the center there is a drawing of a dear friend of mine named Prun Nuri, who at 30 years old was diagnosed with a rare form of breast cancer that it's usually found in elder women. And she's a sculptor, brilliant sculptor. And so when she got the diagnosis, it was the first year of quiet. And we didn't really know how to react. You guys know when something like that happens, it's hard to know what to do. But she said she wanted to create. So she began to sculpt. She sculpted this massive Amazon sculpture. And in the homage to this, the tale of the Amazon warriors, the women who they based Wonder Woman on, it was said they would remove a breast in order to be better archers. So she made this huge sculpture. And the sculpture, we were going to do a short film for the sculpture, and as art and creativity happens, the short film became a feature film that followed Prun, who in the film was called Serendipity because she had spent her entire life looking at reproductive health and the treatment of women globally. And here she was facing her own reproductive challenges. And so I didn't know it at the time, but in that first year, we planted this seed for healing through creative practice. I think it's one thing to express these things and to talk about these things. It's another one to dive into them. So there's the picture of me you see there, and there's my wonderful family. And I embarked on a film project that I directed called The Death of My Two Fathers. It's about my family. And while we're talking about creativity and encouraging you guys to be creative, think twice if you're going to make a movie about your family. But it's also the way that you heal and these things. And I joke, but my sister's here. She can attest. She supported me. Nonetheless, but my father, he passed away when I was in my early 20s. And that was a devastating loss, one that I didn't really know how to deal with, if you will. It was a bit too much for me. And I can see you guys now. And he was a colorful man. He was my hero, you know. And he had, I was born and raised in the woods outside of Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada. He was from Kansas City, Missouri, a black man. And he had 5 children over the course of his life with 3 women. And I didn't know the roots of that side of my father, where he came from. And in the last year of his life, with the old VHS camera, somehow he decided to sit down, put that in the garage, and record 8 hours telling his life story. And he did half of them on his own, and my sister interviewed him long before she became a journalist, and we had these tapes. I received those tapes after he passed. And I didn't watch him for 20 years. But I packed him around with me like a talisman in my backpack as I traveled the world looking for purpose, looking for meaning, knowing that after my father passed, what I was trying to do was do things in honor of him that were good for people and to make him proud of me. And I packed them around, and I packed them around, and I held it in, and I held it in, and I held it in, until finally I found the courage through the collaboration of my friends, and with a camera as a shield so I could go through these emotions, to go to Kansas City and visit my family, and to face my father's death, only to open up and be able to be prepared to support my stepfather when he reached that time in life. So when I say healing through creative practice, and within this group of quiet, I really stepped through something that allowed me to speak to it from a deep place. And it didn't matter if that film did anything. Yeah, it went out in the world and people saw it, but I was changed by that process. So much so that I didn't really even know what I was preparing for till, last year, as life goes, truly, my mother reached her time. And she was in palliative care. And my mother was always writing. And I was like, yeah, Mom's writing, cool. And I said to Mom one day, it was, it's about 6 months before she passed, and she was working on a book project that she had a women's group that she wrote with, great name, called Mad Women in the Attic from the University of Pittsburgh. Pretty good, right? And so the Mad Women in the Attic were gathering to have their weekly call, and they were helping her get this manuscript together so she could leave her writing She'd been published a few times, but she just kept writing, kept writing. And I said, Mom, where are you going? And she looked at me and she said, well, I'm going to my writing group. And something was in her eye, and I said, good, Mom. And she went downstairs, and I walked outside, and I felt like I had been hit in the head. And I cried. And I laughed, because all this time, I'd not seen the artist, the creative person that was in my mother. And so her book got published. You see it there, The Blue Hour, a few months before she passed. And if you would indulge me, I'd love to read you a short poem from her book of short poems and short stories. And this one was for her, the love of her life, my stepfather Frey. She referred to him as, and this is a title, For the Elf King. The Weather Channel said to expect 120 kilometers an hour winds. Such pessimists. The summer air was still, the sky cloudless. When a lawn chair came sailing across our deck, I ran outside. The lodgepole pine was swaying in an inborn evergreen correction, but already weak and not made for such velocity. It became all voice, steady creaking. My husband stood across from the pine, his body in push hands, a Tai Chi motion, directing the tree away from the house, imploring mercy from the tree divas, his words barely audible in the wind. Run, I screamed at him. He ignored me, except to say, you could try praying too. With a thunder crack, the tree fell, shocked the ground it fell upon. The arborist kept staring at the pine stump and its body, now a pitchy log lying from her home. How did this tree miss your house? He asked repeatedly. I stayed silent. My husband shrugged. My mother. Thank you for that, a poem from a mother, from our mother. It's great to be up here and to see you all, but I also want to be with you all. And I thought maybe I could share, the explanation of quiet was a lot about questions. So I'd love to share a question with y'all, and maybe you can turn to a person beside you, maybe it's someone you know, maybe it's someone new, and we'll take a few minutes. And the question is, what creative practices do you have in your life? And the sub-question is, how do they relate with, or perhaps are connected to, your inner work or your spiritual practices? So what are the creative practices you have in your life, and how or do they relate to your inner work and your spiritual practices? So we'll take a few minutes. I've got a timer, this magical thing. And then we'll have a couple people share what they found out. Is that, well, I just assumed that y'all wanted to do that. Is that okay? Okay, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna time you, and I'm a real timekeeper apparently. So the one time I'm gonna be on time. So go for it, y'all. Thank you, guys. How was that? I could feel some energy kind of coming up in the room, yeah? There's these things there's this energy that we possess, this creative energy that's very real. It's tangible. And I think that it often gets extracted from us, and we'll tap into that in a second. But I was hoping that we could get a couple of brave souls to share maybe what they heard from the person they met, if that's okay, so you can talk about someone else. You know, it's kind of fun. Maybe not, I don't know. If you will, and let's just try to keep it concise, because we're under some time constraints. Anyone want to, wow, right in front, right here, either one of you. How about you guys? Oh, a microphone, yes. Thank you, Jackie.
It's official. We were talking about that all of us have very different ways of creativity. One was singing and making music with others, and that connection in a deeper level that you get with those people in those situations. Then also the creativity that can be seen in everyday acts like tea making in the morning and that ritual that brings to you. And if you miss it, then you feel as if you've lost something throughout the day, which I thought was very beautiful. We also talked on the subject as being an artist. A lot of people like, oh, make a career out of this. And then we get noticed or not noticed for this one thing, and then we do this forever. And then this creativity and this thing that brings us happiness then becomes something that is a task that loses its creativity and its rejuvenation to our soul. So that's what we talked about.
Beautiful. What's your name?
Sierra.
Thank you, Sierra. Thank you so much. What's your name?
Thank you for initiating that question. It was thrilling to hear so many people in this room talking about the idea of creativity together. I don't think I've ever experienced that.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I'll share the creativity that I received from the person sitting next to me. My name is Rose. This is Lyndon. And Lyndon shared with me the creativity embodied in the act of giving, which can be a conversation, could be the belief in another's voice, and that the embodiment of that connection is the evolution of the universe, that trust, that connection is the expansion of consciousness. And in the creativity of that being a conversation, part of my interpretation of that is that creativity is energy, right? Whatever embodiment it is, writing in Lyndon's case, giving in Lyndon's case, painting, filmmaking, photography, performance, what have you. And so my interpretation of that is love. And my love is embodied in the act of investing in someone else's spiritual evolution. My definition of love.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think we're going to keep going. What do we got, time? Got time for one more?
One more. We're here.
Okay,
in the
one
back.
more.
One more.
Got a right. Oh, on the back there. I got. Sorry, I'll get you. Me and me can talk about it after. Someone's in the back there.
Hi.
Hello.
We covered.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm Yoni.
Hi, Yoni.
I was with, is it Lauren? Lauren, Claudia, and James.
Uh-oh.
And we covered photography, painting, creating, and in the work sense, and listening, and the creative work that goes into bringing new projects to life and bringing people together. And I wanted to share that alongside the things that have just been shared before this, because I realized through this exercise and conversation that my brain went straight to arts as a creative practice, and I overlooked all of the other realms and ways we express creativity and can manifest creativity in our lives. And so I appreciated hearing bring people together and the creative energies that go into coming up with a new idea and bring something into the world and listening. So I just wanted to put that into the common floor. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And
Thanks for the prompt.
Thank you guys, everybody. Give yourselves a hand. And let's continue. It's just a little seed. This whole project that we worked on was like it was a prayer, a seed of possibility. You come to close something so you can share it. And I'll also, you guys, this is only the second time I've been up here talking about this after 7 years of work. So forgive me if I'm stumbling through this in some ways. But I think that there is a myth that that creative expression is for a small group, and the myth is born of a lot of myths we're kind of swimming in the muck of capitalism, that you can extract something that you're not supposed to sing unless you're Adele, when in fact we have 8 billion people on the planet. That means there's 8 billion different voices. Each one is unique like a fingerprint. So, and every modality of spirituality, of creativity, every book, every sacred book talks about tone, talks about the sound of music, your voice, you're getting aligned with your voice, even if it's in the shower, is expansive. You get the things that are happening to us outside of ourselves. It changes our relationships with them. And I actually, and I think the thing that gets in the way of all that is our fear, which is the opposite of love, And in a time of great separation, we're in a time of great separation, y'all. What does unity look like? And separation is fear. And unity is the first law of the universe. It's love, as you said. So the fear that you have prevents you from expressing yourself. And so, interestingly enough, I got fears like all of us. And when we booked this, shout out to the MOTH team for putting all this together. Incredible team. Thank you so much. And the fact that we get to spend this sacred time together and the conversations we're having. And so when they booked us, or when they booked, yeah, we went to the site and it said that because I sometimes like watching my kids try to explain what I do is just incredibly entertaining. My friends as well. But it said, Saul Guy, musical performance. And I laughed. We said, no, I'm not doing a musical performance. That's in another lifetime. So no, I don't do that anymore. And so you remember the rapper, right? So I left that alone. And then I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about sharing with you, and I was thinking about that barrier of fear that we have around our expression. I started asking myself, well, why don't I sing anymore? And I said, well, I'm scared. So then I thought, if I'm gonna be up here talking this-ish, maybe I should walk the walk. So, if you will, my sister is like, oh my God. If you will, but you guys gotta do it with me because I'm getting sweaty. There's a part for you. Okay, it's this little song we're gonna sing together. You got me? There's a little song we're gonna sing together. So you guys, you wanna learn your part first? Simple. It goes, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. One more time. Yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. So I'm gonna point at you when it's time for that one. You guys ready? Is it a myth? All that we were grateful. Now that the crowns are bloody, I see my brother attacking. Said the statue's too heavy for packing, saying, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. Is it a myth? All that we were grateful. Now that the crowns are bloody, I see my brother attacking. See the statues too heavy for packing, saying, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. Is it true that we had a daughter by the name of Light, and those violent white shadows, well, they stole her in the dark of night, saying, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. Is it true that we had a daughter by the name of Light, and those violent white shadows, they stole her in the dark of night, saying, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. So now we dance to the siren voices of our enemies, and when they copy our steps, they trip and fall. They trip and fall to the silent venom of our ghosts, saying, yada da da da, yada da da da, yada da da da. So now we dance to the silent venoms of now we dance to the silent rhythms of our enemies, and when they copy our steps, they trip and fall. They trip and fall to the silent venom of our ghosts, singing, yada da da da. One more time. Yada da da da, yada da da da. At least 20 years. But my point is this, man. It's in you. These things we see outside, they can bottle us up. Express yourself. Sing your song, walk your walk. Paint with your paintbrush, talk the talk. You know? Y'all are here because you've chosen to, or you've already made a revolutionary act, because gathering in public, in space together is a revolutionary act unto itself. It's become that. we have found ourselves in a time where you guys have become people of service, have chosen to be people of service of others. And we found ourselves in a place where we undervalue those in service to others and overvalue people in service of themselves. That is not the way. It's not the way of nature. So continue to be of service. Continue to be courageous and brave, and continue to create with your God-given capacity the world of your dreams. Thank you very much.